Lolcows, a term that's been popping up in my feed and recommendation quite often recently. And if you're wondering what a lolcow is, congratulations for not being terminally online, but it's what it sounds like it is. It's someone who's easily able to be milked for content and laughs. And on the surface, it seems pretty harmless, but when you dig deeper, you find some quite disturbing details that you may not have anticipated. Some more mainstream lolcows include Boogie2988, Wigs of Redemption, and Only Use Me Blade. No surprise to anyone that Keemstar brought them together for a podcast, minus Blade, where they discussed trending topics, but mostly interpersonal conflicts that they had with each other. With a name like the Lolcow Podcast, it's clear that they are only there to be harassed, and that's more the theme that I wanted to focus on here today. It goes much deeper than Keemstar calling them fat. Instead, it's some of those lesser known characters that are sought after like Pokemon in the wild. So, let's strap in and learn a little bit more about these interesting tales of the Lolcow community. The current most popular Lolcow title is held by Boogie2988, hands down. He had that documentary released on him, The Financial Interview, and now he's on the Lolcow Podcast. He was once the troll himself, being in on the joke.
Double play.
You're kidding!
Judge.
However, as time went on, Boogie stopped playing a character and started to show a more real side of him. The problem was, that more real side of him wasn't as wholesome as many believed it would be.
Broggle, I'm glad to hear you're still black. And thanks for 2 months of support, man. That's a lot of money, I guess, for a person of color, or is it not? I don't.
One of the first major turning points in Boogie's career, where the audience really wanted to root for him, is when he did the Draw My Life. It was a classic story of look where I came from, and look what I got now. The video portrays a man who was abused, neglected, and destined for failure, overcome all odds, and create that dream life for himself. How could you not root for the guy? And that's where the trolls come into play. He had a pretty dedicated group of trolls watching his every move, gathering up clips and screenshots just to cast him in that negative light. That once wholesome man was now shown saying things such as,
Did I ever stand and scream in her face about, tell her I wish she was, I think that there are racists and Nazis out there who, even though they are racist and they are more redeemable than you, because at least they're doing something they believe in.
And darker details about his personal life started to come to light, such as paying for the ladies of the evening, lying about being doxxed, and sending warning shots to a troll who showed up to his house.
You are not welcome here. You have threatened my life. I'm asking you to leave. In about 30 seconds, I'm going to fire a warning shot.
Fire it now! Okay. Fire the warning shot now.
As stated by just about everyone at this point, he was labeled as the Mr. Rogers of YouTube before, but when his personal life started to slip through the cracks, it gave people ammunition against him. And when pushed, the trolls get the content they thrive off of. That's the major part about being a lolcow. And in Boogie's case, it's harder to feel bad for the guy when he keeps making the same mistake over and over again. This was especially apparent after the documentary was released about him by Mike Klum. Much of the footage taken in that documentary shows Boogie portraying himself as a victim, where for most of the part, it's his own shortcomings that brought him to where he's at today. Now, if we're throwing this on a level of severeness for each one of these fine fellows, I would say Boogie is at a cool level 1. It's like asking who your favorite rapper is and they say Drake, or your favorite basketball player and they say LeBron. It's just too mainstream. There's truly levels to this. A close runner-up was someone who's just a bit more underground, and that's the notorious ChrisChan. Easily one of the most popular and sought-after lolcows in the community, but is less known by the mainstream audience. Christian Weston Chandler has a history more documented than World War II. Here's a ChrisChan wiki that is hilariously detailed. This is an extensive resource for anyone not familiar with their time on the internet. And lucky for you, we'll talk about some of these events here today and the type of audience they cultivated over the years. They originally gained their online fame when trolls were exposed to the Sonichu comics, a comic series with childlike drawings, long paragraphs for text, and a story that lacked any sort of fluid plot line. And this did not matter though, because the person behind the comics had a lot more of an interesting grab. The more people started to find out about ChrisChan, the farther people went to gather that information, whether it be catfishing or just straight up blackmailing. Now, it's important to add here that ChrisChan does have autism, and as someone who's familiar with the struggles that one goes through with special needs, it's hard to justify the actions of these trolls. And of course, instead of trying to help in any sort of meaningful way, they would just bully, harass, and manipulate ChrisChan for their own amusement.
My name is not Ian Brandon something! I am ChrisChan Weston Chandler! So get it through your damn skull Center during 1989.
In the early days of ChrisChan, they were very vocally homophobic, over-obsessing over girls in their life being incredibly persistent even when told no to any love interest, and they spent much of their waking hours defending themselves online, attacking the trolls. For the people on sites like 4chan and Encyclopedia Dramatica, they had hit the jackpot. The whole situation is just one big toxic sludge cloud. You have someone who has autism who cannot stay off the internet being investigated by a group of loyal trolls who wanted nothing more than continuously shame ChrisChan and prod until they got the freak out they wanted. As stated previously in other videos, I really do not understand why people feel so obligated to invest such huge portions of their lives into a single creator. Some of Chris's trolls, on the other hand, are on a whole new level, and it becomes almost their full-time job trying to ruin Chris's life. This is just sad, pathetic behavior that has no justification whatsoever. Go ahead and introduce Blue Spike. For those not aware, Blue Spike was a 13-year-old boy who was obviously troubled that did things such as catfish, blackmail, and talk all naughty like on the phone with Chris. What? This case is so incredibly odd that it doesn't seem like it could be a real thing, but it is. And I'm not going to show any of these clips because they're so hard to listen to, but ultimately this kid pretended to be a girl named Julie and also Max, Julie's supposed brother. He got ChrisChan to confess a lot of personal and embarrassing details, pretending to be that Julie character. And as Max, he hacked into Chris's PSN account and held that, as well as Julie, his quote sister, over Chris's head, declaring if he does not make Billy Mays the new mayor of Sonichu City or shove his Sonichu medallion into crevices not allowed for YouTube audiences, he would sell his account and never let him see Julie again. Now, I do not blame you if you're feeling incredibly confused right now. It shouldn't make any sense. This is a 13-year-old boy blackmailing Chris in real time, recording the whole thing, just humiliating the poor guy. Being again that Chris has autism, he's easily convinced into doing these things. This created a huge divide in the ChrisChan trolling community.
It's like the fission reaction that sets off the fusion explosion. The internet does it all, and you just sit back with your glass of wine and laugh.
Wow, that seems kind of mean.
It's not mean if it's hilarious.
Like any sane human would, many said Blue Spike had gone too far and crossed a line and it was no longer trolling. It just seemed like it was sick pleasure, and for a minor of all things. Just an absolute bombshell of a situation. ChrisChan has had many dedicated and obsessive trolls over the years, but none quite to the extent of Blue Spike. That was all the way back in 2009, but the trolling did not stop there for others. He's gotten himself in and out of deep water so many times since then. The most notable recent controversy being the time spent in jail for doing the hanky-panky with Barb, his mother.
Approached her with care and caution, so I just gave her comfort and talked with her, and we just branched out slow and steady, and then I encouraged her positively, let her make the first move. She wanted to do it. And
she did? Really? She made the first move?
Yeah.
Now ChrisChan is trying to rewrite history and transcend into a godlike being.
Greetings, everyone. This is ChrisChan Sonichu Prime here once again. Focused and connected with everything.
Only time will tell what sort of new adventures Chris will embark on, but due to the fact that there's a running tally on how many days it's been since he's been last seen in public, it's fair to say we will know when this happens. Getting a little bit deeper into the weeds, we find ourselves with two TikTok legends turned Lolcows. Their names, you may ask? Daniel Larson and Josh, aka World of T-Shirts. The troll's sole purpose for these two is to harass them in person and witness the meltdown. You can notice a trend in the people that I'm talking about here today as well, that trend being that they have special needs. They use the fact that they are easily influenced and sometimes unable to make rational decisions on their own to create an environment of trolls to laugh at them, not with them. People are constantly trying to manipulate them. For instance, Daniel Larson keeps being told that he's in talk with the FBI and is dating TikTok's Grace Vanderwall, who is coincidentally always in danger and unable to meet him.
I'm performing a citizen's arrest, so the FBI is outside. I have more than enough photos coming in. Okay.
Who are you arresting?
I'm arresting every single person here.
Clearly, he is easily convinced of very unlikely things. Something else that gets a lot of views for Daniel as well is the abuse of himself and others around him. And I refuse to show any of these clips because they're pretty hard to watch, but these meltdowns are a clear example of his inability to regulate his emotions or his mental state as well. Part due to his disability, but part due to his less than ideal upbringing. Watch any one of Daniel's live streams and it's clear to see that he's struggling, but people find it impossible to look away from the absolute disaster that is Daniel's life.
Look at this crackhead.
I can go right ahead! I can go right ahead! Fans are leaking my location, bitch! Fans are leaking my location!
He does himself no justice live streaming at all, gathering evidence of him being disrespectful and at times manic. In Daniel's case, if he's spotted out in public, people will try anything to manipulate him into believing something, which usually turns into him yelling. Then the next thing you know, he's spouting the N-word, flipping tables, and punching himself. He truly is a danger to himself and others, which is why it's so messed up that there's people out there who will intentionally antagonize him just to witness the action. And as mentioned previously, World of T-Shirts is right up there with Daniel in regards to those public freakouts.
You fight!
See, Josh is the king in New York. His many renditions of New York State of Mind are what made that man what he is today. And like all others discussed in the video, Josh has his fair share of baggage. It all started to go downhill when Josh whomped a fish with a Captain Falcon down air. And I'm not going to show the video for obvious reasons, but he goes to town on this fish, and it's clear why people were upset. And when looking at the apology video, he doesn't really understand why people are upset with him, and that probably has more to do with the fact of his mental disability and less to do with the fact that, as many believed, he was being a terrible person. Let's take a look at this apology where he completely misses the mark.
So a lot of people are upset about a leaked video of me stomping on a fish. First of all, the fish was already dead. The person who recorded me without my permission. They didn't pay the cameo, so they weren't even supposed to record me, but they posted it to set me up, so that they would have an excuse to try and cancel me. I did not kill anything. The fish was already dead.
Something to point out in Josh's defense is that we are missing any sort of context whatsoever. Such as in Daniel's case, it's possible that he was influenced to do this by the guy filming the video. You can hear him say, "Yo, it's that TikTok guy," so it's clear that he is aware of him, and the fact that there was no attempt to stop Josh seems a little bit suspicious if you think it was that messed up. With that being said, again, I'm not excusing Josh's behavior. He does have autism, but that doesn't mean he's void of any sort of criticism. It's still disgusting to watch, that part does not change, but it's the why and the intentions that should be discussed as well. Let's put it this way. If you're easily influenced by others and then presented with a large following, many of them being trolls, it's not the most surprising thing in the world that situations like these happen. And after the fish incident, there was no longer any hope for Josh to have any sort of wholesomeness that he once had while he was dancing, eating those jelly fruits, or singing to the audience scrolling on his For You page.
So these will turn you into a dragon.
These two Lolcows actually have some history of their own together. Both were gaslit by fans to fight, and the curation of the beef between the two led them both to name drop each other. Soon after, Daniel released his own video showing him bandaged up in the hospital, claiming to be assaulted by fans.
This is what I look like after I got assaulted by 2 fans.
Like the true NYC king he is, Josh responded by mocking him.
I can make it anywhere. Unlike Daniel, he made it 10 hours and then he got punched in the nose here. He's not a New Yorker. I'm a New Yorker. I'm the captain of the ship. I run New York. I run this city. Me. Woo!
Just a month later, however, these two are caught streaming together being all buddy-buddy, and the interaction is compared to Trump and Kim Jong-un's meetup. Today, Both Josh and Daniel now have almost completely destroyed their lives with a huge help to their degenerately loyal trolls. On one hand, we have Daniel, who's lost just about everyone in his life who's willing to help him. He's homeless and continuously live streams his delusions fed by chat. A detail that I now feel obligated to put into this video, since originally working on it, is that our boy Daniel Larson is finally in jail. The man's locked up in the slammer. I'm not sure for how long, but at least he'll have a proper bed and no more trolls gaslighting him. And Josh, on the other hand, is getting absolutely wasted, constantly having drunken meltdowns, getting harassed, and threatening to sue anyone who crosses his path.
I'll sue you for millions of dollars. I'm sorry. Don't kick me, you unemployed. I'll sue you. I'll sue your ass.
Absolute chads. Before I finish out this video with a personal favorite of mine, I want to go ahead and add those honorable mentions. Only Use Me Blade.
N-word.
County Sheriff's Office. I want to make sure you're okay. Hey, Brian. Hey, can you face me?
Wings of Redemption.
We have lost objective Freddy.
Wingo, I think I madly in love with you since every time I log in your streams I see your round shapes finding it make my day much better. I dream at night and how you smell, which is nasty by the way.
Jupiter the Hybrid.
What's your deepest, darkest fantasy?
My darkest fantasy is to watch all those who wronged me die by my hand. That's my darkest one. It makes me want, it's just one of my darkest fantasies of doing. I want to kill everybody who's wronged me.
Oh.
And of course, Johnny Elbows.
Don't pay them no attention, man. If you don't give them any attention, they won't bother you. You know what I mean? No, John. What? No, dude. No, dude.
No, not her butt. Her shorts.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
Now, last but not least, we have the main man Chance Wilkins, aka Cyraxx. For those not aware of Cyraxx, he's the anime villain who's a jack of all trades. His trolls have become chapters in his life, creating some of the most intense battle scenes seen in recent history. Now, all jokes aside, he too is manipulated into believing a lot of things, such as being signed to a record label, getting catfished on many occasions, and plugging in a death stick into his Xbox, being told it would mod his console.
Cyraxx, we just bricked your Xbox.
No, I had mods loaded. Those were the ones...
What he just plugged in was a 10 gigawatt kill stick that disrupts any technology plugged into it.
Mr. Cyraxx, if you don't believe us, try plugging it in somewhere else.
The most notable character in the Cyraxx saga has to be Music Biz Marty. This was an account created in order to convince Cyraxx that a music label wanted to sign him, and it did not stop there. Music Biz Marty streamed a lot of embarrassing and revealing content, along with facilitating a platform for other trolls to come along and harass him. The history between the two is extensive to say the least, and at points, it makes you wonder if these trolls literally have nothing better to do in their lives. For example, Marty made 2 attempts to fight Cyraxx in real life, only one of them being successful. Now, what could drive someone to want to do something like this? With Cyraxx, where do I start? He's been caught talking with minors, some SA on a former friend, sending out his winky to anyone who asks, or doesn't, and he's curated an incredibly inflated ego, which makes him bout that life, and so much more.
What up, y'all? It's your boy Cyraxx in the house.
Even with all that being said though, Music Biz Marty and all these other trolls are cringy role-playing weirdos. Anyone with working arms could give the beats on Cyraxx. It's one of the biggest examples of punching down. Marty had been hyping up this whole idea of him moving into Cyraxx's neighborhood to keep him in check and whatnot, and lo and behold, he actually shows up.
But it is Cyraxx.
But it's not.
Okay, so here's what I'll tell you. If you don't want me to move there, you'd better send me a message loud and clear that I'm not welcome. But what's that going to consist of?
You'll find out soon enough.
He booked the Airbnb for a couple of days, and while he was there, he was just intimidating him the whole time. Like the big man that Marty is, He had his phone set out live streaming, talking shit about Cyraxx until he finally pulls up, and then again, he gives the beats on him. Mind you, these are grown men bullying Cyraxx like it's high school in the 90s. And again, Chance is the farthest thing from innocent, but it's clear from watching Cyraxx do just about anything, he isn't the most level-headed, mentally sound one of the bunch.
Hey, either that or I show my cock, I get you banned. Which is it, Nick?
And this is why people troll him, because it's incredibly easy to get a reaction out of him, and people watch in amusement. Now, does Cyraxx need to get offline? Yes, but Marty also needs to sign off as well. Both can be true at the same time. Marty and all the other trolls claim to be doing what they're doing to get Chance off the internet for good. And if that's their goal, then they're doing a pretty awful job of it. Cyraxx is only popular because of the amount of people that are flooding him with attention. They are the ones keeping him alive on the internet. And like all Lolcows listed previously, they're famous because people can mess with them and then they get their desired reaction. But in all honesty, it's hard for me to blame them at points when he's responding to things like this.
Shut your mouth and answer me!
Hang on.
Shut your mouth and answer me!
Come on, Cyraxx.
You.
But again, these weirdos just take it too far and dedicate most of their free time to trolling. As stated previously, Cyraxx is definitely one of my favorite Lolcows. They just don't make him like him anymore. A true Akron legend. Now is he sexist, racist, and an egotistical predator? Yes, but he's also the self-proclaimed Drift King, so that's pretty chill in my book. I don't got much else to say about Chance. There is a deep history that you can get into, but the main point that I was trying to drive home in this video is that these trolls are just weird, and it doesn't make much sense to me what they got going on in their lives, but to each their own. So if you liked the video, go ahead and like and subscribe. Comment down below if you think it was sweet. Comment down below if you think it was. Hope you have a good day. It's been Slink. See ya.